Money Talks, sponsored by Lexus of Las Vegas and Lexus of Henderson.
February is Financial Aid Awareness Month, and applying for and receiving aid is often confusing and overwhelming. Local financial professional Brad Zucker from Safe Money Advisors joins us with tips on how to navigate the student loan process. And Brad, it can be confusing really for students and parents and literally everybody.
Absolutely. Student loan borrowers are holding $1.6 trillion in student debt. Tuition varies from school to school, but many students are walking away from college with mountains of debt averaging $29,000. So it really is important that families sit down and do their financial aid homework now to help cut costs and get the best deal on a degree.
Absolutely. So what should be the first step that we need to take right now?
The first thing you should do is crunch the numbers. You should be receiving a school's student financial aid letter that usually arrives at the same time as admission letters. You want to check that letter out and see what you're being offered, then look at the cost of room, board, tuition, fees, meals, and add those costs up to see what a semester or year is going to cost. And then basically at that point, compare those costs to other universities that you're looking at and your budget. And we've got a link right on my website at askbradzucker.com that helps you compare these options side by side.
Right, and so when you get that letter, there are a lot of words and sentences that you also need to study, and they can be confusing as well.
That's right. We call it learning the lingo. Grants and scholarships are different than loans. Grants and scholarships are free money that you don't have to pay back. Loans, you have to pay back every penny with interest. These financial aid letters sometimes group together a list of the grants, scholarships, and loans that universities are offering you. So you must separate the grants and scholarships from the loans. And if you need a loan, do the math correctly and don't borrow more than you need.
Right, and you don't borrow more than you need. We were just talking about how some people, unfortunately, they have to pay for student loans or grants up until they're in their 50s or 60s even.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because that's a very dangerous time to be so close to retirement and carrying heavy debt. People between the ages of 55 and 75 are the second largest group with student loans, averaging $34,000. So it's important to identify not to take out these kind of loans to help a child or grandchild out when you're in your 50s to 60s, because that debt will take forever to get paid off and it will eat away at your retirement savings.
Well, wrapping up now, Brad, what is the one last thing that people need to know?
What they really need to know is to be certain that when a child graduates school, they'll go to higher education on loans, grants, and scholarships. But when you stop working in retirement and go on a fixed income, there's no loans, grants, and scholarships for retirees.
All right, Brad Zucker, always with that very important information. And of course, for those of you students, or maybe you have kids who are going to college, we'll post all of this information at KTNV.com. And as usual, Money Talks with Brad Zucker airs in our 6 a.m. hour and Good Morning Las Vegas weekends. We'll be right back after this break. Thank you.